Picture this. You're in your boss's office and she's telling you about your raise. $8,000 more per year. Your brain immediately starts spending it. Better apartment, nicer car, maybe finally stop feeling guilty about ordering guacamole. Fast forward 8 months, you check your savings account. The number is basically the same as before the raise. In some months, it's actually lower. You just made $8,000 more this year, and you're somehow more broke than you were before. There's a mathematical trap that catches almost everyone, and it operates with such precision that it feels almost designed. The trap has nothing to do with how much you make, and everything to do with a law you've probably never heard of. Here, I break down the money psychology that nobody talks about but everyone experiences. If you've ever gotten a raise and 6 months later wondered where the hell the money went, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button, because what I'm about to show you will completely change how you think about your income. Now, before we dive into why this happens, let me paint you a picture of what we're actually dealing with. You're standing in the grocery store and you're doing that mental math, the running calculator in your head that adds up items as they go into the cart. You're making $62,000 a year. That's decent money, but you're still putting the organic strawberries back and grabbing the regular ones because it's $3.50 cheaper. You're at dinner with friends, and when the bill comes, there's that micro moment of anxiety about whether you can actually afford to split it evenly when Tom ordered 3 cocktails and an appetizer. It's 3 in the morning and you're checking your bank account on your phone because you can't remember if that subscription charge already hit this month or if it hits next week. Here's what makes this so insane. These exact same scenarios play out whether you're making $45,000 or $145,000. The numbers change, but the anxiety doesn't. I've spent an embarrassing amount of time analyzing spending patterns across different income brackets, and the pattern is so consistent, it's almost creepy. Here's what actually happens when you get a raise. Let's say you're making $55,000 and you get bumped to $63,000. That's $8,000 more per year, or about $667 extra per month after taxes. Let's call it $500 to be realistic. Your brain immediately does this thing where it starts upgrading your life in tiny, seemingly reasonable increments. And this is where the mathematical trap snaps shut. Month 1 after the raise, you move to a slightly nicer apartment. The old place was $1,200. The new place is $1,450. It's not that much more, right? It's just $250. You've got $500 extra per month. You're still ahead by $250. Month 2, you finally get rid of that car that's been giving you anxiety. The repair bills were killing you anyway. The new car payment is $380 a month. But you were spending probably $150 a month on repairs on average anyway, so really it's only $230 more. You're still basically breaking even with your raise, and now you have reliable transportation. Month 3, you upgrade your phone plan because the old one was frustrating and you deserve unlimited data. That's another $35 a month. You start getting a few more convenient services. The meal kit delivery because you're tired of cooking after work. The premium gym membership instead of the basic one because the classes are actually good. The better car insurance because you have a newer car now. None of these individually feel like a big deal. We're talking $40 here, $55 there, $75 for this thing. But here's where it gets really interesting. By month 6, your fixed monthly expenses have increased by almost exactly the amount of your raise. The $500 you gained is now scattered across 12 different monthly charges that all feel essential. And here's the kicker, they are essential now. You can't move back to the cheaper apartment without breaking a lease. You can't get rid of the car payment without tanking your credit or losing money on the trade-in. You can't downgrade the phone plan because you're on a contract. You've converted temporary extra income into permanent extra expenses. This isn't a personal failure. This is Parkinson's law applied to money. You've probably heard Parkinson's law in relation to work. Work expands to fill the time available for its completion. The money version is even more brutal. Expenses expand to fill the income available for their payment. And the expansion happens automatically, invisibly, through 1,000 micro decisions that all seem perfectly rational in isolation. Let me show you exactly how this works at different income levels, because understanding the specific math is what actually helps you break free from it. When you're making $40,000 a year, your financial life is dominated by true necessities: rent, food, transportation, basic utilities. You're probably spending 75 to 80% of your income on things that are genuinely non-negotiable. The trap at this level is that any increase in income gets immediately absorbed by playing catch-up on deferred maintenance. The car that needed fixing, the dental work you've been putting off, the security deposit to move out of the terrible apartment. But here's what most people completely miss. When you jump from $40,000 to $60,000, something weird happens. Your necessities don't increase by 50%. Your rent doesn't suddenly cost 50% more. Your grocery bill doesn't jump by half. In theory, that extra $20,000 should be mostly surplus. But the lifestyle creep at this level is absolutely vicious because you're making up for years of saying no to yourself. At $60,000, your necessities might be 60% of your income if you're disciplined. But most people at this income level are still spending 90 to 95% of what they make because the trap has shifted. Now it's not about necessities. It's about the things that feel like necessities because everyone around you at this income level has them. The decent car instead of the beater. The apartment in a neighborhood you're not embarrassed to give people your address from. Clothes that don't look like you bought them at a thrift store. These things feel essential because they're wrapped up in your identity and social signaling. When you get to $100,000, and this is where it gets truly wild, your actual needs might only be 40% of your income. You could live an objectively comfortable life, save aggressively, and build real wealth. But here's what happens instead. The lifestyle inflation at this level isn't even about stuff anymore. It's about convenience and time. You're paying $45 for an Uber instead of taking the subway because your time is valuable. You're ordering delivery instead of cooking because you're exhausted from work. You're paying someone to clean your house, do your laundry, mow your lawn. You're spending $200 a month on subscription services you barely use because $20 here and there doesn't feel meaningful when you're making $100,000. And stick with me here because this is the part that will probably surprise you. The people making $200,000 or $300,000 are often just as financially stressed as the people making $60,000. Because the trap scales perfectly. Private school tuition, the house in the neighborhood with the good schools, the 2 nicer cars because you can't be the family in that neighborhood driving old Hondas, the vacations that match what your social group considers normal, the retirement contributions that feel mandatory because you're aware enough to know you need to save. I've seen the numbers. About 55% of people earning over $100,000 report living paycheck to paycheck. That's not because they're financially illiterate. It's because they've locked themselves into a lifestyle that scales with their income. The math is absolutely brutal. Every income tier has its own expense ceiling, and most people hit that ceiling within 6 months of reaching the new tier. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but what about the people who do manage to save? What are they doing differently? And this is where most people mess this up, and I see it constantly. They think the solution is just making more money. They think if they could just get to the next level, to $80,000 instead of $60,000, or $150,000 instead of $100,000, then they'd finally have enough to save. But that's not how the math works. The people who actually build wealth at any income level, whether it's $50,000 or $500,000, have figured out one specific thing. They've made their lifestyle lag behind their income. Not forever, not as some miserable exercise in deprivation, but just enough that there's always a gap. They got the raise from $55,000 to $63,000, and they kept living like they made $55,000 for another year. They banked that entire $8,000. Then maybe they allowed themselves one upgrade, one meaningful improvement to their life, and they locked in the rest as automatic savings. But here's where it gets really interesting, and this is something that will blow your mind when you see it. The people who successfully build wealth aren't just saving money. They're opting out of the social comparison game that drives lifestyle inflation in the first place. Because here's what nobody tells you about making more money. Every time your income increases, your reference group changes. When you made $45,000, you compared yourself to other people making $45,000. Your friends, your coworkers, the people in your apartment building. When you got bumped to $65,000, suddenly you're in a different social context. You might have moved to a different neighborhood. You're interacting with different people at work. You're in different social circles. And all of those people are making $65,000 to $85,000. So now you're comparing yourself to them. And guess what? Some of them make $85,000. Some of them have family money you don't know about. Some of them are drowning in debt but hiding it well. This is the psychological trap underneath the mathematical trap. You're always comparing yourself to people who are slightly ahead of you, which means you always feel slightly behind, which means you're always spending to catch up to a finish line that moves every time you get close to it. Let me give you the number that changed everything for me. I was reading this study from the Federal Reserve, and they found that the average American spends 95% of every raise within 1 year. 95%. That's not a rounding error. That's not people being careless. That's a systematic pattern that shows up across every income bracket, every education level, every demographic. The trap is catching almost everyone. And this is where most people completely miss what's actually happening. They think the solution is budgeting. They think they need more discipline, more willpower, more spreadsheets. But the real problem isn't that you're bad at budgeting. The problem is that you're trying to budget your way out of a trap that's structural. You've built a life where your fixed expenses automatically scale with your income. The solution isn't more discipline. It's designing a life where the scaling doesn't happen automatically. It's deciding in advance, before the raise even hits, where that extra money is going. It's setting up automatic transfers so the money disappears into savings before you can spend it. It's understanding that your brain will automatically fill whatever financial space you give it, so you need to make the space smaller than your income. Here's the part that nobody wants to hear but everyone needs to understand. Building wealth at any income level requires you to live below your means, which by definition means living below what's possible. It means making $75,000 and living like you make $60,000. It means having the ability to afford something and choosing not to buy it. And that goes against every message you're getting from the culture around you, from social media, from advertising, from the people in your life who judge you by what you have. But here's what actually happens when you break free from this trap. And this is something I wish someone had explained to me 10 years ago. You don't just save money. You completely change your relationship with work, with stress, with decision making. When you have 3 months of expenses saved, you're not just someone with savings. You've become the type of person who can walk away from a bad job, who can negotiate harder because you're not desperate, who can make career decisions based on what you actually want instead of what you can afford. When you have a year of expenses saved, you can take risks. You can start the business. You can move to a new city. You can bet on yourself. The money isn't just money at that point. It's options. It's freedom. It's the ability to say no to things that don't serve you. And here's the kicker that most people never realize. The actual difference in day-to-day happiness between spending 95% of your income and spending 70% of your income is basically zero. The nicer apartment doesn't make you happier after the first month. The new car is just a car after the first week. The premium subscriptions you barely notice. But the 25% you're saving compounds into something that changes everything. Into the ability to quit a job you hate, to move for a relationship, to take 6 months off when you have a kid, to not check your bank account with anxiety at 3 in the morning. But here's where most people mess this up, and I see it constantly. They break free from the trap for a while, they start saving, they build up a cushion, and then they blow it. They treat themselves to a reward purchase because they've been so good with money. They finance a car they can't afford because they finally can make the payments. They move to an expensive apartment because they have the money in the bank so it feels safe. And just like that, they're back in the trap. They've converted their savings back into fixed monthly expenses, and they're starting over from zero. The real shift isn't just about the math, it's about identity. It's about seeing yourself as someone who makes deliberate choices about money, instead of someone who spends whatever is available. It's about recognizing that every spending decision is actually a choice about what kind of life you want to build, not just what you want to buy right now. Your expenses will expand to fill your income unless you actively, deliberately, systematically prevent them from expanding. That's not a moral judgment. That's just how human psychology works when you combine it with a consumer economy that's designed to extract every dollar you make. The trap isn't a conspiracy. It's just the natural outcome of 1,000 small, rational decisions that add up to staying broke at every income level. So here's what you do. The next time you get a raise, before you tell anyone, before you celebrate, before you start thinking about what you can finally afford, decide where that money is going. Set up the automatic transfer, lock it in. Then live your life exactly the same way you were living it before the raise. Give yourself 6 months at the new income level before you allow any lifestyle inflation at all. And when you do upgrade something, make it deliberate. One thing, one meaningful improvement, not a dozen small increases that add up to the entire raise. The math is brutal, but the math is also simple. Expenses expand to fill income unless you stop them from expanding. Your next raise won't make you richer unless you prevent it from making you broker. Start building that gap between what you make and what you spend, because your future self is counting on the decision you make right now. The salary trap catches everyone, but you don't have to stay caught.